Many landlords believe issues arise during a tenancy. Rent delays, maintenance frustrations, misalignment in expectations. But in my experience, most challenges don't come from the tenancy itself. They come from what happens before it even begins, the setup. After more than 2 decades in property management, I have learned that the way a property is prepared, positioned and structured sets the tone for everything that follows. When setup is done carefully, ownership feels steady and well managed. When it's rushed or overlooked, small issues tend to surface more often and feels harder to manage. Today, I want to walk you through what setup really means and why it's one of the most important parts of good property management. Most property problems begin long before the tenant moves in. When a property becomes vacant, many landlords and agencies focus on one thing: getting a tenant quickly. Vacancy feels very uncomfortable. So every week without a tenant means a loss of income to the landlord. So there is pressure to fill the property fast. But speed can quietly create problems when leasing decisions are rushed. Important things get missed. For example, is the property positioned correctly in the market? Is the rent realistic? Is the property presented properly? Are expectations clearly explained to the tenants? These things may sound small, but they shape the entire tenancy. If the rent is set too high, you may attract the wrong applicants. If expectations are unclear, misunderstandings appear later. If the property has unresolved maintenance issues, small problems can escalate to big problems. So what looks like a tenant problem later often started as a setup problem earlier. One of the biggest misunderstandings landlords have is about tenant selection. Many people believe tenant screening is just about checking references. But experienced property managers know it's more complex than that. It's all about alignment. The right match between a tenant and a property prevents many issues before they arise. It's not just about passing an application. It's about suitability, intended length of stay, financial position, and how the home will be used all matter. For example, a compact apartment may suit a professional couple well, while a larger family home often suits occupants looking for longer term. When a property and its occupants are well matched, the tenancy tends to run smoothly. When they're not aligned, friction often appears later. That's why experienced property managers look beyond the application form. They consider patterns, consistency, and context, so landlords can make informed decisions, because placing the right tenant in their home is one of the most important decisions in property management. When alignment is right, many problems never arise at all. Another area where setup matters is something landlords rarely see: expectations. Clear expectations at the beginning prevent many disputes later. A tenancy agreement is more than a legal document. It's the framework for the relationship between the landlord and the tenant. When expectations are clearly explained from the beginning, the tenancy tends to run much more smoothly. This includes things like maintenance reporting, property care, communication processes, inspection expectations. When tenants understand how things work from the start, they are far more likely to follow these processes. But when expectations are vague, confusion often appears later. For example, a tenant may delay reporting maintenance because they're unsure how it works. Small maintenance issues then become larger ones, or a tenant may misunderstand property care responsibilities. That creates tension during inspections. Clear communication at the start of the tenancy reduces these situations significantly. This is why experienced property managers spend time setting the tenancy up properly. It creates stability later. Good property management is often invisible. When a property is set up properly, landlords rarely see the work that happens behind the scenes. They simply experience the outcome. Tenants stay longer. Maintenance is handled early. Communication feels easy. Rent reviews happen at the right time. But behind that calm experience is thoughtful setup, tenant alignment, clear expectations, correct marketing positioning, and proactive oversight. When those foundations are in place, property ownership becomes much less stressful. And that's really the goal of good property management, not constant activity, just quiet stability. If you've ever had a tenancy that becomes stressful or complicated, it's worth asking an important question. Did the problem actually start later, or did it begin with the setup? Because when the foundations of a tenancy are done properly, many problems simply never happen. If you would like help reviewing how your property is currently positioned or managed, we're always happy to have a conversation. No pressure, just a chance to talk through your situation and see if our approach may suit you.